I have been resting, and as I have been resting, I've also been looking through papers and mementos and such. I've come across this journal that I have kept for so many years. The general, or the president I should say now, has kept a journal since he was a young man, and I took up the practice as well. In the move between Mount Vernon, our home in Virginia, and the first temporary capital in New York City, and then more recently, as we've come here to Philadelphia, well, things have gotten into quite a jumble. You cannot imagine how trying it is to move all of one's possessions in overloaded carriages along these rough roads from one place to another. We lived at a plantation, Chestnut Grove in Virginia. As a young lady, I learned to read and write, do fine needlework, dance, make pleasant conversation, manage a household, dress stylishly, and take a proper seat when out horseback riding. A woman could not be too careful in choosing a husband, for upon marriage, the control of all of her wealth, her children's wealth, her very person, and the person of her children would be passed. All of that control would be passed to her new husband. Some women, unfortunately, found belatedly after marriage that her new husband was more interested in her wealth than in her person. He was from a middling prosperous family, but his father had died when he was a young boy. And unlike many young Virginians, he did not attend college, but rather went to school to study surveying. After he worked as a surveyor for a time, he joined the militia, where he began to make a name for himself during the French and Indian Wars. He was home on leave, not having felt very well as of late. He had contracted something and was feeling as a morose young man and certain that he was going to die. I fell almost immediately. He was a tall, good-looking soldier, and it was further delight to me to find that his character was of sterling quality as well. I felt that here was a man of integrity whom I could trust to look after my and my children's interests and our wealth. Now, of course, I had heard rumors about his infatuation with his neighbor's wife, Sally Fairfax. But I chalked it up to the fancy of a young man, I think encouraged rather by Sally a bit. And in fact, the Fairfaxes became some of our closest friends. And so in January of 1759, I married George Washington, and I had married for love. I loaded the carriages with hams and warm clothes and food and medicines and anything that I thought would help us to be as comfortable as possible during the long winter months. On the way, I was met with honor guards at every town and city, with the citizenry of each town coming out along my path as though I were a great somebody. It was that first year that I underwent inoculation. I stopped in Philadelphia for a 3 weeks' time and had the inoculation. I went to the doctor and they introduced the infection in the small cut. I did come down with the disease, pack up our carriage with everything, all the provisions that I could lay my hands upon, and travel to meet him. Windsor, New York, Morristown, New Jersey, Valley Forge, Boston, wherever he was, that is where I went. And once there, I endeavored to make him as comfortable as possible, to provide whatever assistance I could, to entertain the long succession of people who would come with important war news and such. I did my best to make sure that they were entertained and fed, and I would talk with them long into the evening so that the general could slip away and returned to his duties, for not having the time to do what he needed to do, well, it troubled him greatly.